Kingsley Plantation, famous for its historical buildings that were built by many slaves, became part of the National Park Service 26 years ago.
Where we're at now, Kingsley Plantation, was once before we took ownership of the plantation, was actually a Florida state park, and there were Florida Park Service rangers here before we got here.
This year, Kingsley Plantation celebrates its 17th annual Kingsley Heritage Celebration. According to Lord Holtz, every year, historians reenact some of the activities that slaves would have done on a daily basis.
Zephaniah Kingsley was the owner here, and today we're portraying 1814, which would have been the end of the Patriots' Rebellion War, which actually had some significance for Kingsley because some of his plantations around Jacksonville were attacked during this war.
Originally, there were 32 slave cabins, but only 23 still remain. The slave cabins were built during 1820 out of tabby, a combination of oyster shells, sand, and water. The cabins form a semicircle, a pattern used in the villages of West Africa. Sherry Dupree is a director of an anti-slave trade organization in Gainesville. She has visited Kingsley Plantation several times with groups. She says each time is a different experience.
What was so fabulous to us were the tabby houses, and yet we still can see the frames of those homes today where the slaves lived. And we spent a lot of time looking at the material that it was made out of and how it was structured, how small they were, and how many people had to live in just one little house. That was just exciting to us, and how close they were built together and how they were all in one little area.
The main house is another important place at the plantation. Park Ranger Emily Palmer says Zephaniah Kingsley and his African wife, Anna, moved to this plantation 200 years ago. It is the oldest plantation home still standing in Florida.
Outbuildings had burned down during the Patriot War. The main house survived because they stole all the hardware from it. So every doorknob, every hinge was gone, but its house stood.
But the main house isn't really where the park rangers tell the Kingsley story. Parker says the kitchen house and the slave cabins usually attract the most attention from visitors.
Today, as a testament to their life, is the archaeology and the buildings that they lived in, the places they called home, the rooms that they were born in, people died in. And so that's really our contribution to the American story.
After years of start and stop planning, the National Park Service intends to give thousands of visitors a water taxi service.
So a boat tour would afford an opportunity to see more of the actual preserve and some of the islands that are along the intercoastal waterway.
King says the boat tour will reduce the number of cars on the road. For now, the best way to get to Kingsley Plantation is through Palmetto Avenue, the semi-regional road made of sand and oyster shells where many slaves traveled each and every day to and from the fields. Mayra, Souza, inside Jacksonville.